All right, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to do something that we haven't done before. Normally we look at stuff that we've already shot, and I tell you exactly how I did it. This is going to be slightly different. This I haven't actually shot yet, but I'm using the power of recording this information and then releasing it later to reveal what we eventually will be shooting. So this is basically, you're coming alongside as all the work that I normally do in pre-production, I'm doing just like I would, except I'm recording it for you. And then we're going to be able to fact check it afterwards. We're going to be able to, did he actually do what he was going to say? Because I haven't shot this job yet. What we're going to look at are the storyboards that come through before the tech recce. So this is just the idea from the director, from the agency, whoever it is. These are the ideas. These are the shots that we have to get. Then we're going to look at the locations themselves like we would on the tech recce. And then I'm going to try and describe in my head what's actually going on. Now, here's the key point about all of this. I don't do any of this stuff normally. I'm basically doing what I do in my head, which takes about a split second once you get to the location. I'm going to try and explain it to you. Now, this is going to take significantly longer than just thinking about it in my head. Why? Because cinematography, it's like speaking Mandarin, right? If you don't speak Mandarin and you're hungry, it's going to take you a long time to be able to go out, look up, how do I say I, how do I say I am, then how do I figure out I am hungry in Mandarin and be able to get that across with the right accent and all those things. That's going to take a long time. If you speak Mandarin, you say I'm hungry. That's it, right? You're not going to say it in English, obviously, but that's the difference. This is also, just a little spoiler alert, the value that a cinematographer provides. This is it, the translation. Okay, it's not from language to language, it's from text to visual. This is what you're doing all of the time. If you don't speak Mandarin and you're in China, you're in trouble. Okay, so if you want to get better at cinematography, learn how to speak the language. Okay, let's jump into it. Now, these are agency boards. Normally what you'll find from agency boards or early director boards is there's no background, right? These are just shots that we eventually have to get. Luckily for me, this is a job where this is not, we're not doing 15 different setups inside of a room. We've got, for this particular setup that we're talking in this video, we have one shot, right? Not even these two. Although this is the same gentleman here, this is in a different location. So don't worry about that for now. We're looking at one single shot in one location. This is a dream come true, right? Because now, even without seeing the location, the very first thing that I'm thinking is, hold on, we've got one shot, one angle in this location. This is going to be a knock out of the park. It's going to be a home run. It's going to be super, super simple. All we have to do here is apply all of the things we know about how to create a nice looking image, which is basically the entire framework, right? You've got 5 different elements that you have to remember, and you shove them into here. So when I arrive on the Tech Scout and I'm looking at the boards that they hand out and I see this shot and the director says, okay, we're only doing one shot here. I'm like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, this is going to be amazing. Okay, now let's talk about, well, first of all, just to give you some background context here, we've got a gentleman here. He's a smoker. This lady's finding out that they've been married for their whole lives, but now she always knew he was going to get sick, and now he's sick, right? So he's bummed out because she said this her entire life, and she's looking at him like I told you so, which is completely normal. That's it. One scene, one location. If we were going to map this out using the blocking framework that we use, right? I'll give you just a pause here. What kind of scene is this, right? What kind of scene are we looking at? And I'll give you a hint. Which direction are the people in the frame? Which direction are they looking? Are they faced towards each other? Are they open both to camera? Are they in a vehicle? Is this a dining room setup where there's more than 2 people? Or is this an other? Does this look like a oneer, right? Is there any motion in the frame? Is this going to be a steady cam shot? Are we going to be on the gimbal going through windows and things like that? This is where I should insert the Jeopardy music. Like, what kind of scene is this? Ta-da! If you guessed bar scene, you would be correct. Now, an office scene would be if this lady was over here in this chair, looking this way, right? Because then they would be looking at each other. Here, they're both facing this way. Even if they turn their heads to look this way, they're both facing this way. So now this is going to determine the lighting that we can use. In a bar scene, there's only 2 different options that you can go down. Once you've established it's a bar scene, you've only got 2 options. Light from the front, light from the back. Okay, that's all you can do. And you should already know, right? Again, like speaking Mandarin, I don't even have to think about all the options. I already know what they are, and I want to pick the best one for me. Now, because we don't have to do any coverage here, it makes it really, really, really simple, right? We just have to identify, well, who's the hero of this shot? Like who do we want the audience looking at? Do we want the audience looking at this lady? Or do we want the audience looking at the dude? Well, the dude is the main character, so I'm going to guess him. So we're going to put him in the best possible spot. We're going to put her in the second best spot. Not the best, not the worst, right? Worst would be over here. We're going to put her in the second best spot. That's all we have to go on. Okay, so from there, well, actually, let's just look at the board here for a second. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can. Let's drag it down here. Okay. All I'm going to do in my head as I'm sitting, waiting for the last person at the tech scout to arrive is I'm going to look at this and go, okay, well, how do I actually want this lit? I see a window back here. Okay, there's a window over here. We don't have to keep this orientation, so none of these drawings in the background matter. But it's a wide enough shot that we're going to be able to fit in some elements of light and dark in the background. So where do I want to bring the key from? That's the first thing. Well, I know I don't want to bring the key on this side, right? And shove it at these two. Why? Because although it'd be pretty good for this guy, like we could arguably turn him a little bit more to camera so that key could be sidey, we're going to be lighting up this lady, right? Her entire body. If we just have a 8x8 in this location and we're pushing level through it, yeah, we could flag it off and try and create some shape that way. I don't want to do that though. That seems like a lot of work. It seems too hard. I know that I want the shadow side to be here. So I know that I have to get the key on this side of this guy's face. So I can either do it in front of this lady or I can do it behind this lady. Now, if I do it behind this lady, that means light's going to be here on her head, the key light, and then all down here will be lit. So this means all of this side of his face is going to be shadow. So if the main thing that we have to remember is how do I manage contrast, which then creates the depth, which makes a two-dimensional image look three-dimensional. Okay, that's what I'm going for. I want maximum darkness. It's a story about people getting sick from cancer. This is not, we're not going to make this feel like Frozen. This has to be dark and down, and this guy's a little bit bummed. Okay, so we're going to go with nice moody stuff. Now, hopefully there is a window in the background that we can light from. That would be ideal. We can turn this orientation of this table in the location however we desire. We're given free rein from the director to say, we've got one shot. That's all you have to worry about. We don't have to worry about coverage on her or how we're going to get the over, or in this case, let's think inside of the location. This is maximum 90 degrees that we have to worry about. Okay, so we don't care what the rest of the location looks like. The only thing that we need to worry about is, number one, we need to find where 90 degrees is going to be. And that's going to be relative to where we place the talent. And that will be determined by the location of where the window is. Because I know I want to light this from outside. Unless it's going to be like nighttime. This is a daytime scene for us, by the way. Where we're lighting from overhead and we're trying to keep it darkened down. Then it's all about the location of the windows. Then we're going to plant the people. Then we're going to plant the camera. Okay? This is how these things evolve in your brain. Now, I'm explaining this in a matter of minutes. In your head, you just do it. It takes 2 seconds, right? If you can't just do it, this is what you must learn. Okay, so now let's come over here to the actual location. I'm going to zoom in, make this a little bit bigger. Okay, lo and behold, now, I have skewed the results for you because I'm standing in the corner of the room that I want to shoot in. Right? This is when I took this photo or a video actually for Patreon supporters. I walked around the entire Tech Scout. We talked about this stuff in real time. So if you're interested in this content or you want to see more of this or just earlier on in the process, Patreon is the place to do it. You can support it. Link in the description below. Lots of extra stuff there. Okay. So I'm standing in this corner. I could have stood over there. I could have stood over here. I could have stood over there and looked around, right? Now you're looking at this going, well, this is the obvious place to stand, Patrick. And if you can explain that further, why this is the obvious place, guess what? You're learning to speak Mandarin. Good for you. Okay? Where you don't want to be standing is over there, looking that way. Or over there in that corner, looking this way. There's a table just here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's underneath this kitchen bench. Okay? Now, what is going to happen when I come in here as I say, okay, well, I know we've got one window here. I know I'm going to want to light through that window, which means I have to be on this side of the room, right? There's a line right down the middle of the room. I want to be on this side. Now, I don't want to be looking directly at the window because that's going to make it very hard to light from the window and to be able to hold the window. So I don't want to be there. So this is out. Okay, well then if we draw this thing again, now I've got two options. I could be looking into this corner over here for background, or I could be looking into this one for background. Now, this is where you check with the people around you. You say to the director, or maybe the director says to you, ooh, I like this one because this looks a hell of a lot more like kitchen than this window over here, right? This has all the appliances. Don't look at any of the details. Just look at the structure because all the details we're going to bring in, right? That's going to be production designed. That's somebody else's job. Now, you're going to have some input, but you want the bones there. You want to be able to, you want the most efficient use of your energy in this space is, well, this side, could we bring some of these appliances over there? It's like, I mean, I guess you could, but that's just wasted effort. Why don't we just shoot where the appliances are if that's what we're actually looking for, right? It looks more kitchen-y over there. It doesn't make any difference to me because the window is right in the middle of the room. Let's do that. And you say, okay, so you come over here, shuffle over here. I grab the camera and I'm looking this way. So this is the table here. We could put the lady here or we could put the dude here. Remember, this is only one shot. We now have complete creative freedom to make this however we want. So I'll tell you what I think we're going to do. Again, I haven't actually shot this, but these are the discussions that we had. Immediate thing. First off, we need to get curtains in here for the window and shears. Okay, because you get that much more control. If you just put out, let's just put like, I don't know, you're going to put an M40 out there and you're going to blast it through the window and then you're going to put up like a little passive ambient push through the entire window, right? So you get your spotlight or your key that's going to come blast through the window, your push, and then you're going to get just your ambient level fill, okay? If we have the windows like this, you're going to see all the stuff. Right, even if we come over more to where, let's see, the finished frame, if that's one chair there, and here's a chair, right, the finished frame, you're not going to see this whole window, but you'll probably see like that much of it. And then you'll see over there. So this is our frame now, right? Let's imagine that is our frame. I want to use the cutters that I have complete control over. And what do I say, cutters that I have complete control over? If you just left this window as it is, right, I'm thinking time savings. I know that the team is going to be short on people. The day is going to be short on hours. I want curtains and shears in here so that I can just physically, because I'm doing nothing all day except waiting for people to do stuff. I'm going to walk over here and I'm going to grab the curtain and then I'm just going to look at the wall and go, hey, let's close the curtain more. And now you could do it with a floppy. But to get a floppy, you got to get a stand. That involves one of the grips coming in here. There's already two talent in there. There's the first AC is over here. The director's got to be in there as well. It gets a little complicated. I'm just anticipating that I'm going to want control over the light. So what am I going to ask for? I'm going to ask for curtains and I'm going to ask for shears. Now the shears, maybe you only like, let's say that this ends up becoming the frame. Sorry, this is the part of the window. Can we make it bigger again? Yeah. Okay. So this is the part of the window that you end up seeing. And half of that window is going to be curtain, right? What's the point of the shear? The point of the shear is that the shear can be in the shot. And then I can have no shear here with all of the level going through. So to the frame, it looks like there's shears across the window, which gives it a nice soft little feel. But actually what's happening is maybe I'm softening with a 4x frame, the level that is hitting the person standing here, or sitting here, sorry, our key talent. Right? Maybe there's a 4x frame there, and then the background is getting this sheer diffusion, or maybe I'm going the opposite, right? Maybe I'm going sheer here, then curtain to block the light from spreading everywhere. This is to control the background, to not to be looking out at blown out background area. And then maybe I'm letting the hot, like I've got another, I don't know, like an 800, like a Joker or something out here pushing into the background, like to give me like a little slash. And then over here in this part of the window, I'm using that as the softer push on the body. Okay. And if you are a seasoned veteran of the channel, you know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to soft hob this thing, right? Shout out to my boy, Andre Soft Hob, one of the greatest cinematographers of all time, who invented the soft hob method. If the person's here, this is their body. Okay. And the light is coming from the window. I'm going to make everything below here hard light, right? Maybe a stop over exposed. And then I'm going to make everything up here soft. And I'm going to do that with a 4x frame just here. So hard level coming through the bottom, soft level coming through the top. Thank you, Andre, for all that you did. RIP, buddy. Okay, so that's the location. And then you're like, okay, well, now we've got the key. Like, and then how detailed do you get with the people around you? It depends on how much confidence you have in the crew to be able to pull this thing off. In my case, I've worked with these people for so long. They're better at their jobs than I am better at their jobs. I do not know. I mean, I do know I could figure it out, but that's why I have the crew. They figure it out. I say, yeah, we're just going to push some soft level through here. We're going to want something for the background, like hard slashing across the background. I imagine we'll go soft hub on this person. And then we're going to want some pracs around, like maybe we do something under here, or maybe we do a light underneath the oven, or maybe we do something, you know, I don't know, on this little island thing, you know, because we're going to be in this corner shooting, and maybe we see some of it. So maybe we want to like a matte or something so it's not white. And then of course we're going to haze. So there's going to be haze in the room. We're going to be pushing the key through here. We know exactly where they're going to be set up, and we have ultimate success. We know we're going to get depth from shooting into this corner, you know, because we could, like you could just rotate the table around and you could get that frame that is in the boards. You could get this frame by rotating that table, like edge that around, and then you'd be looking straight at the window. Is that better? Not in my mind, right? That's not a better use of our time and energy if we want something that looks halfway decent. So I would say, don't do that. And all of that happens in a split second. You walk into this location, I go, well, I know I don't want to be over there. So that completely eliminates half of my choices. I'm going to be on this side. Okay, do you like this way or do you like this way? Oh, I like this way better. Okay, camera's going to be here. Big push through the window. A couple of pracs in the background. Let's soft hub him. And we're going to use curtains and shears. And then over here, you look to the grips. Over here, do what we always do and just create a wall of black. That's it, a wall of black. And then the only other thing you could think of is, well, how slick do we want to make it? Do we want to make it Hollywood slick? Hollywood slick has backlights that come out of nowhere. Sometimes I like Hollywood slick. A lot of the times I like Hollywood slick because there's nothing else to do on set. There's nothing else to do, right? You're sitting there going, I guess we could be ready to shoot, or I could add a little something. Why? Because we have the whole team here. This is what we get paid to do. Let's flex it a little bit. Let's flex our muscles. And so what you would do here is, okay, we got old maid sitting down here. We got lady sitting down here. I am already anticipating, like, well, if we only light from outside, it's going to be real down. Like this person, this lady facing camera. Let's go back here. This lady facing camera, she's not going to have a whole lot of level on her face. So we could add a little bounce from above just to give her a little bit of return, and we could flag it off of his face so it doesn't fill him in much. But realistically, I'm thinking by the time we add haze in here, like it's going to bounce off of him and pick up enough for her. So we won't have to do anything. But worst case scenario, I need in the back of my mind, well, what's the solution if they say it looks too dark or it's too scary? Well, if it's too scary, we just need to upfill on her. Last thing we want to do is like add lights in the room to wrap this around. Not because it doesn't look, I mean, you can't make it look good. It takes a lot of nuance to make it look good, which requires patience, and you need time to A and B the difference, because, you know, having the 4x frame with the sky panel pushed through it here, looking this way at this dude versus just a little bit more this way is going to make a massive difference. So I want to A and B those things. If you're going to A and B those things, I mean, you don't have to A and B them. You could just turn the thing on and there you go. That's your shot. That's when you've given up on the job. Normally you want to A and B those things. You want to have a little freedom, and it takes time to do those things. So I would not want to be doing that. The one thing that you can do, which I've always talked about, is like, it's really hard to screw up a bounce, right? You can't overcook a bounce. So if your skills of judging by eye, or if it's like the 30th shot of the day and your eyes are adjusted to inside in the room and it's hard to tell, like, does it look too lit from inside with the sky panel through the 4x frame? The answer is yes, always. It's probably overlit. But the way you never even have to have that thought is to go, let's just bounce it in, because you can't get enough level from the bounce and not have it physically be in shot to look lit. okay? I mean, you can definitely get the angle wrong. Like you could bounce from over here and all of a sudden it feels gross. But you can't get too much level. And if it feels like too much level, well, then you've probably got the bounce in the wrong spot. Like if you have a M40 coming through this window and then you put the bounce right here and all of a sudden he's nuclear on this side, the first thing should not be, why does he look so hot from that bounce? The first thing should be, I've made a horrible error, right? I obviously no hablas Chinese or Mandarin. I need to move this thing over here. It's going to be nicer, okay? And then haze, and then prac, and then you know the deal. That's it. One shot, done, boom. You go in, takes 2 seconds, and the rest of the time on the Tech Scout, you're just waiting for everyone else to sort of have their conversations and go, this is what we're going to need, because I've already figured that out 2 minutes in. Okay, so that's our first look at this. We're going to look at the other 4 scenes as we go, because you see, although it takes a split second to actually know this stuff, it takes a little bit more time to explain it. So that will be in the next video. Many thanks, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.